Willow Tuan nodded. Other than this, you can find another reason. Explain this situation. He replied that he couldn't find it. This is not too much like the Gao family. Willow Tuan is right. High and high real police will not do. They will not allow others to do so. But don't forget that Gao had a long life. Inside the city, the harmonic people, it has also inspired the appearance of Lu Tuan. What the hell is today? The thief stopped. The will of the king and his wife. Cornered into Lu Yang, not resolved yet. There is a god outside the city. The face tone is down. Lu Tuan personally came. Let's leave it to the fakes first. Please be king again. During the week, we went to see the left-wing leader. The king did not agree. The emperor quickly deployed raw magic. Abnormal thawing. He was with the king. He then disappeared into the hall. 10 good looks at him turned into resistance and woke up. So that's the idea of morphology. Concord reminder. Don't take them lightly. It is still visible at the peak of time. But I've done tissue damage before. 10 suspicious, or who is your sister? Reconciliation explained. He is the old man of the devil. Is the same rank as the capital. The sand quickly flew out of the city. I can see you on the middle. Then you realize, the sand is here. The sand saw Trong too. It's even more terrifying. It's coming too. He quickly returned. Landed in front of 2 people. They took prison. Willow Tuan flourished 2 people for no reason, embodied the capital god. This is when the government changes. There's chaos with the assault, or SAO. You heard him say that. They all look at each other with incomprehensible eyes. Willow Tuan then immediately asked the sand. Wait. You didn't receive the letter of the SAO. Zhang too kept looking at the left and screaming. Don't tell him to come see me. Lao Tzu, a golf course bud, just worried not in time. The result when you come here, the god of calm sea waves. The sand doesn't even know. There is a ghost. Mom, are you kidding me? The horror to heaven. The ghost of the world. On the opening side, we are also busy preparing the fund. High U direction carefully say out. I know the light, even if it's an image. Pollution is also very strong, as Luoyang related to the national. I can't falter. I don't need any more advice, I've decided. I had to use glass to watch the war. I have no advice anymore. I understand, Your Majesty. A very fast eunuch came to the report. The Lost Ocean Foundation has been completed. Circulate the vice. Let's start it. You guys must have cleaned up Liu Yang. We must quickly deploy the battlefield. Before the Kier crazies bring the foreign gods down. The eunuch didn't say much. Quickly going's urge finally fund. The lightning from the 4 pillars spread very quickly. Gather together the dazzling white light. Then I covered the 5 important people. They then disappeared, according to the police. Transfer to Luoyang Cao. You stand there, looking at the shadow of their backs, they disappeared. This battle must be won. The emperor bowed his head silently thinking about the world ghost. Why didn't we know this was happening? Bar la ti, no French letter came to inform me. Did the postman Falcon die on the way? This is impossible. On the order paper, there was no new order. What this means, recently verified no non-incoming mail. The 2 Trong Tu and Lu Tuan flourish. I saw him suddenly dumbfounded like that. They also turned their heads and look at each other. Trong Tu softly said Ra. It seems Sand really doesn't know this. Now we have to do something. Whether staying in the ocean becomes important or... Willow Tuan solemnly replied. Calm down. Right now in the sky, There's a blue light coming straight into the city. People are startled by this light. Turn your head and look back. Blue light directly pierced through the roof. The cover of San panicked. The wise man also appeared before his eyes. The 10 good people just embodied the island of Senbai immediately exclaimed, "Oh heaven! There are still so many people in Luoyang Sao. The emperor has not yet organized the leaving or Sao." King Ian Min next to continue. When asked by the emperor of Luoyang, "You won't know, or Sao carefully bow your head, seriously call out loud, 'Take away emperor,' and suddenly, the tortoise points up and says Ra. I said, "Don't you look at one? Looks like we've broken people's roofs. People who don't care at all. What does the puncture have to do with the mouth?" I thought I was going to laugh. What a strange coincidence. I don't think about this cloudy puddle of Luoyang. Even you are involved. He was also surprised by his appearance. Why are you here too? Praise or ask. Do you know each other? Thought of laughing. More than just knowing. This person is Tai Sun King Dong Hoa. Dai Dai Top. All the people heard that. They all turned to look at the harmony. Pay close attention to these people. At this point, I realized the stress of sweating. Dear God, dragon fruit is very important. Van Zhao, Quan King Ian, Min, Thien Than Quan Sun 2 Island. I thought that there was also selling and selling. This squad, enough to wipe out a small country at once. It's not lost. There was only one volunteer thief. Sao Cao Gia has to the point of sending a squad like this to arrest people. Right now, suddenly, in the middle of the house, there was a glass. From the other side, the glass came up. Have you met with the king? To report a little bit on the progress of the levers. Go to Luoyang. Bow down with a bow and bow. Not yet meeting. There's this. I discovered. The emperor hasn't organized yet. Let the gypsies leave. Tall, he wrinkled face agitated question. I haven't left this yet. Maybe they haven't left yet. At the same time, on the side of the king, the new kingdom. He's in the emergency room right now. Go outside. He hurriedly advised. Please be careful before. You didn't say it outside. This place was covered in the ice stamps of the ties. Why are you going out the door now? It will force them to turn their cards. Ahead of time with you. Tanha Cold Spring. The post I want to see. Let's see if they dare to stay under the eyes of the 4 statues. Force me to stand in line 5. You saw the light just now. That's the only way to go. Send 4 statues to use it. Now I don't even go out and stir the water. Let the Chinese and the Thais fight. We can only be in pictures for the rest of our lives. The old man was very worried about the old man. Somewhere deep underground in the city of Luoyang. There's a pagan sitting here. He directed the newcomer to ask. As a result, he still rejected the goodwill of the Sao prophet. In front of him, a crack appeared. Prophecy with another name. Immediately from inside the fissure come out. The prophet saw his nervous expression and asked, "What's wrong with that?" The Kier people hurriedly replied to the 4 statues that had gone to Luoyang. This has led Tan to make the wrong choice. The prophet in his heart. Because Chu Tuk is the new manager, the magic fire Kier has come Sao. A little earlier than expected. After a moment, he asked again. How many people are there now? Interested in this world. Young man masked the backhand immediately covered. There are 3 experts, including violent fake etching babes, the Asian black. The general is evil and unscrupulous, the Greek Tower of Hades. The prophet nodded. Then the target is good enough. Let's lead the three rulers to assume the position of the world. It's time to confront the natives of this world and the announcement of our arrival. Above the ground, the Trong two people right now. I also went to a meeting with a group of people. I just saw the big ones. Then speak up. It's good that everyone is here. Let's be clear today. I didn't get any mail. It didn't appear on the paper. New password. That way we know. The ghost is coming to organize the encyclopedia to leave. Stand next to 10 good people. The appearance seems very interesting. It's fun to watch. The Queen also speaks. This we can testify too. There have been no official letters to Liu Yang recently. Serious face care. If so, there's a problem. He then immediately orient the glass. Report the situation to Cao En. Your Majesty, please investigate. Office in charge of France. Letters and letters in charge. Verify the main command line. I suspect in the letters of both sides. At least one side has a problem. He was angry and wrinkled like a ginger monkey. I know. He then coldly called for suicide. He just finished. A black shadow appeared on his back. God, Your Majesty, I glanced at him angrily. Go to investigate immediately. I want to know, why do they dare to see the book of Liu Yang? It's like a garbage straw doing these little movements. Move the scene to the side, the hiding place of the Quan King in Liu Yang. He's out in the sun right now. There are 3 comedians playing around. A little boy came running up to him laughing and saying, Grandpa 33 want to eat candy lake lot. Can you smile in the evening? Grandfather will buy it for you. The other 2 children rushed in. Most also want. I especially want candy. Right now, there's a space crack in the yard. A believer from the inside out appears in the courtyard to sue the king. The time has come. The king saw him leave. The laughter on his face immediately disappeared. Instead, it's the extreme bass stress. He then sat up, patting his little nephew's shoulder 3-3. I can't take you to buy candy. The boy opened his 2 cute eyes to look at him. The grandfather sued the king soon after. A sword stabbed the girl. Here, youth. See, that's exactly how he handled his grandchildren. I can't help but feel cold enough cruel. I also think that, will he wait a little longer? Life and death time is then also firmly opened. When I opened it, life and death discovered outside the Tan Plateau. There are 3 people in the city who are not affected. You'd better move a little faster. The young man was a little startled to hear that. Turn the scene to the 10 people. 3 people are not affected by life and death. What the king was talking about was the thought. Harmony and prudence, or utterance. This is the next thought of life and death. I see them all looking at me. He hurriedly waved his hand to explain. It has to be us. At this time, the king came in from the outside. Suing the king startled the important. Who is coming? You 2 get along. No stranger to this man anymore. All at once uttered. Tall Nu Yen Tan, there is no round. Get straight to the point. Su Quan King, he relied on the gods. I guess that's why he opened the life and death time. Maybe it's because of your appearance. Make the crazy people worship Kier, thinking that you've been exposed. Forced to proceed with the plan in advance. Move your wings to the other side. Blood show tablets. The king took it out of him. 3 of my grandchildren. It's all breaking apart right now. The incarnation of the ancient Greek cascade. Black General Evil photo. In front of him, now slowly, a circle is appearing. Through the circle, he could see the people suing the king. In the world over there. At the same time on the other side of the mountain. The lawyer complained to the Greek cashier. The same ring of light appears. He didn't hesitate. Quickly into the ring of light. He just walked out and met his evil heart. It's also coming out of another ring of light. He then directed the believer to ask. The result is minus raw. There is another form of complaint that has also been accepted. Right? The believer on his knees replied, that's right. The lower reaches of the Greek cascade. Sitting on one side, or look at the rest of the blood. There are not three gods who need SAO. This guy has no reaction. When the young man heard that, he immediately fell into deep meditation. After a while, he spoke up. Let's get back to life and death. I asked the fake newspaper. The king also had no opinion. Immediately put the hands of the law to collect life and death time. He just reclaimed his life and death. The young man quickly entered the gap. On the side of the 10 good people. Life and death time has just been collected. Immediately gaping out the mosquito net. Look at the king. Why one more person? The New Testament says it again. If you sue the king, take initiative to eliminate life and death. Make it clear that his work is done. When the crazy people worship Kier, they haven't actively attacked yet. Let's quickly nest. Let the police leave. After listening to him, he fell into silence. After a moment, he looked at the sand and said, even though I say this now, it may not be in time. But I ask the elders to bring their disciples. The figure shielded the cypress leaving. The sand replied without hesitation. Things in duty. I don't need you to say I will. Let the king continue to speak. Ask the king. Patrol raids for suspicious places in the city. The king nodded no problem. He then closed his eyes. Start to stop volunteering. Transfer scene to the underground base of the believers. The man who had just returned called out. Get the fake newspaper out here. Front. Very quickly, there was a body slowly coming up. Young people are quick to get straight to the point. The target leads the fake tyrant to a problem. You contact the messenger of the fake Vin ancient group. See, what's it all about? We have a problem here. Or on the side of fake violence. Fake newspaper nods millet. He then. So I started contacting the fake news team. The fake tyrant is still floating inside the universe. There's no movement yet. Wait a minute, the young man asked. Carving the Asian. I don't know if we've activated the SAO. Answer press release. That's right, he said. We can summon his incarnation. In the north lost master. His body will come later. Above the sky of Liu Yang, the king is currently searching. Check the whole city. The two men looked up, and the priest looked up. A little curious. The master smiled. This is the demigod of the orderly world SAO. Not the force itself. It's the power of the user. That's interesting. His evil mouth right now. Suddenly, there was fresh blood. He then put on a grim appearance. Slowly draw the sword from the side. When he saw that move, he asked. You don't wait for your followers to come back. He must have something to do with us. He breathed out a breath. My sword is thirsty for blood. Another party 2 people. Tran Hung and Mong Yi have now left the tea house. Like flying on the roof. Follow Tran Hung nervously asked. The situation is really so bad. Tran Hung lecture. We've been in the capital for days. Before, have you seen the King of Heaven one day? Have you been to the beach 3 times? Plus, the evil master outside the city. And the Big Bang has just fallen. I had this kind of feeling that the storm was coming. Liu Yang, it will immediately become a battlefield. I am so scared that what you say is true. Right now, there's a black shadow coming down from the middle. Block their way. The one who comes is his evil image. The corners of the mouth are constantly flowing with fresh blood. Look at Tu Tran Hung aesthetic. Use them to try the sword. Think about here. He bent over and laid out a position to draw his sword. I saw that look of him. Tran Hung could not help but scream. Get out of the way. As soon as he finished speaking, his evil heart swayed. Where does the air knife go? Architectural buildings were all smashed there. The dust and the thunder. Continuously spreading out four sides. He's done cutting out this one. There's a little 7. Only one knife cannot continue. It's a weak world. But very quickly, he saw 2 young men. Absolutely no loss. Standing inside the rubble. They've now translated it back to its original form. I can't help but feel a little guilty. I felt the power of my last sword. Then think about how to avoid SAO. The natives are really smart. He looked at the enemy and reminded Tran Hung. This general is not ordinary. The power of him alone was enough to support the completion of the great. Looking for last time, but there are still leftovers. Chen Hung seriously called for Yi Yi. When he heard his call, he doubted he would answer. Tran Hung is the driest. Qigong covers the whole body. Say more. I'm afraid I can't use the general anymore. In a moment, my boss is close to pulling the auxiliary method. The Dao also had no immediate comment. He stood on the roof of the observatory. They can't help but be amazed. After seeing a powerful sword of my god here. But you still dare to fight. It's interesting that I was interested in the Tran Hung people. Without even knowing that. Next to me, I don't know when. There was a butterfly coming. And then the contact is neutralized. A young man holding a riding lance suddenly appeared next to his evil heart. You talk too much shit. I hope that after seeing my king's spear, Kung Fu East Joint, you still have the courage to confront the king with that tattered sword. Don't wait for his evil heart to react. A stab wound to his chest. He has no way of believing it. It's impossible to scream. How could this be possible? A man like you appears behind my back. Why can't we feel it? Who just came out? No one else. It's the wrong dance under the 10 virtues. He's riding on your roof. Not worthy to know. He just fell to the ground. Immediately, at the bottom, there was a long red hand. The hand does not measure. Clasped his evil head tightly to the ground. Don't give him a chance to turn around. The author of this book is Lu Tuan. He was able to touch the enemy. Immediately deployed to create evil mind photo. And then he was turned into a rooster. 2 men stood on one side watching. Not out of fear. The wind blew up. The general has turned into a rooster. 10 good with Dong Hoa now also from behind. I just saw Tran Hung. He called out to the master. Chen Hung and Yi Yi all turned their heads at the same time. Looking back, you really are my teacher. 10 goodness in no way understood. You are alive, master. Tran Hung met his disciple again. It's not surprising. Why are you here? 10 good for the other side. It is important to practice the magic of observing the battle. Not from feeling. Willow Tuan Thin and his friends are very good. Then we can't fall behind here either. 10 good people go to trial.